Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We have a whole bunch of people joining. This is Braden. Let me bring up Denise. Hi, Denise.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. We want you to, this is the first one. So if you can't hear us, please make sure that you are sounding off in the comments because I am guaranteeing we'll have a technical difficulty or two by the time that this is through. That rhymed. I didn't mean it. How are you doing, Denise?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So excited for this. So Denise and I started this kind of as an offshoot. Many of you know us from some of the Jennifer Penelope's 857,000 Facebook groups that probably many of you are members of. And we wanted to do something to create an interactive experience for all of you to learn something. So we, first of all, I think Denise, we want to thank Jennifer for letting us promote this in the groups.
Absolutely.
And look forward to chatting with many of you after it. Denise, what are you excited about for this?
Well, I have seen um, the things that Keith does, and they're awesome. And I think it's great because everybody can see the Home Depots and the Lowe's and the Home Depots and the Home Depots and the yet they don't always get the opportunity to get to hear from and see everyone that because everyone doesn't get to go to Trans World and everyone doesn't get to go to Midwest, and we wanted to be able to bring some of those people to in front of these guys so that they can learn from them, so they can see what they have. And it's just an opportunity to share more information with all of these wonderful people that we have met through Jennifer and Randy. And I mean, that we've got a lot of people that we interact with all the time. And we just wanted to give something back to them.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to summarize it. I think that for me, the thing that I found from going to Trans World and Chicago Midwest Hunters Convention is that there is an entire world of amazing artists who are not only making things but modifying things from other haunters and creating something new. And I think when you go to Trans World, which is an amazing experience, and if you get the opportunity to go, you should go. And Midwest Hunters Convention is their more consumer home hunt friendly version of that. You're gonna really be inspired, and but you're also gonna see things that are just completely geared towards people who have professional haunts that have $1 million budgets, and not everybody has that. So we really wanted to create a space online for people who are buying the props from places like Home Depot, like Spirit Halloween, et cetera, so forth. And then they're creating and modifying things to go with them, and they're elevating their home haunt to what I call a professional home haunt. Like, it's not a full-on haunted house yet, but it's really an elevated experience. And so for anyone who wants to get there, whether it be lighting, prop making, mold making, animatronic sound, we're going to have all those people on this webcast. I think we're going to try to do it once a week. We're going to see how this goes. And the idea is to build a knowledge base of open source information so everybody just really has the best haunts that they possibly can.
Well, I know my husband, going to those seminars at Midwest, he came from there just inspired so much. He spent time, because he got to spend time and learn. And he is more excited this year about Halloween than he has ever been. And he's always been excited. I mean, and this time, I mean, he doesn't ever say anything about what I get except, oh my goodness, where are we going to store it?
He really is. He really is. I think that's a great segue. So I want to bring our guest up because he's got tons of information. But I'm really excited. I thought Keith would be a really perfect person to bring up here for our first one. I have had those moments. I had it at at Chicago Midwest Hunters Convention, especially because it was geared towards that higher end consumer. The things that I learned were just like major aha moments. Keith gave me some, and we're going to talk about those. Another one is a lighting vendor that I'm not going to mention yet, but they're going to be on here. And when we have that lighting one, it's going to, I'm telling everybody who is dealing with extension cords, this is going to be a game changing. I feel like Oprah right now. This is going to be a game changing moment for all of your home haunts. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited. It energized me in terms of how I'm going to do my haunt. And Keith was the same way at Chicago Midwest Hunters Convention, because and I have some of his stuff here that I'll share with you that I purchased. And we do this, by the way, Denise and I are not getting paid. We don't get any sponsorships. We're really just bringing people up here who we think are game changers in the industry to help you. And hopefully you'll support them. That's our ask, that you will support them. And of course you'll follow Haunted House Factory on Facebook. Many of you already have, and share this video right now because we are about to blow up some information for you guys. So
we have love it.
Yeah, and we have people from all over. We have people from Virginia Beach, from North Carolina, Texas, Connecticut, more Texas, more Florida, California, Emerald Isle, wherever that is. Somebody's here from Chicago. So I'm just so excited. We have some people in the comments, so please share this video. I'd love to get us to 100 watchers. Like, share, all the above, and you're going to have the chance to ask questions, and we'll bring those questions up on the screen. So without further ado, I'm very excited. He is the owner, the operator, the creator behind Cobwebs and Candlesticks. He's been a home haunter for 20 years, and please welcome up on the stage, we have Keith. Hi, Keith.
Hello, Facebook.
How are you?
I'm good.
We're very excited to have you here for our very first laboratory session. So thank you for being our guinea pig.
I feel special. Thank you.
You are special.
You are very
Not really. Not really.
We think so.
You really are. I mean, when Denise and I were talking about this, I was like, I know exactly who has to be the first guest. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because when you go to these conventions, it's chaotic, and you had no problem stopping with me, talking with me, and flat out telling me where you're getting some of your supplies, which I just loved that spirit. It's like, well, here, I have this thing that I'm buying this thing to make something else, and you can too. And I think that generosity is exactly what this is about. Exactly what this is about. So shout out we have people from Maine. Sorry, I'm from Maine, so I had to pull that one up. But anyways, Keith, you have been a home haunter for 20 years?
Oh yeah, 20 years. I started in an apartment, and I think I did 1 or 2 years there when my son was born. And as soon as I got my house, it was game on.
I think that's sort of how it happens. It tends people buy their house and then they get addicted to it. Do you remember what was the moment where you went from buying stuff to making stuff?
I've always made stuff. My background is I'm a classic car restorer, so I use a lot of automotive stuff into my builds, like body fillers and glues and fiberglass and stuff like that. So I've always taken something or a piece of something and then use that as just like a catalyst for my own build. And then apply everything I know from my auto body knowledge, and then just everything that I've learned over the years, watching prop makers and my favorite people who build stuff. So ever since I did models when I was a kid. I did a lot of car models. So that was basically like one of my big catalysts for, okay, you can take some pieces and make something bigger out of it.
Mm-hmm. And that was something else I loved. I love that you come from an automotive body work background, because I'm actually be curious to hear more about how you've applied. This is about direct information, so let's not beat around the bush here. What are some of the things that you bring from the automotive body world to your haunt building techniques?
I bring fiberglass because as a home haunter, especially in our area here in Northwest Indiana and Chicago's in the house. Shout out to Chicago. We have the most horrible weather. We have 90-degree days. We have 30-degree nights. We have frost. We have rain. We have snow. we have everything in 30 days. We have all 4 seasons. So you just can't buy a $300 Spirit Halloween prop and stick it out in your yard for 30 days. It will be destroyed. So anything I put out, I like to build overkill. Like on my YouTube channel, I do a lot of tutorials and stuff and show people how I used it, what I used to make something and how I used it. So I try and overkill build my stuff to be outside for minimum 30 days to deal with Mother Nature and still look good when you take it out of the yard. Put it out for a couple of years, and if you're lucky, in a couple of years, you got to touch it up a little bit and stick it right back out in the yard.
So if I'm just getting started and I don't know anything about fiberglass, which I don't, like what's the first project you would tell somebody to do with fiberglass? Like, walk me through it. I
would tell somebody to get, well, if you got a plastic prop, that's okay, but anything that's like foam that you're going to put in the yard, or like some of the spirit stuff, like that stuff, latex in the sun is bad. So if you're going to build something at home that you want to keep in your yard like for years, I would say get a styrofoam skull, like my little tiki torches, and fiberglass over the top of it. If you want to leave it outside, fiberglass is the way to go. It's just a resin. It's a resin that you put a couple of drops of hardener, you mix it up, you brush it on. It's pretty easy. I've shown it in some of my videos, but that's going to make a long-lasting prop that's going to withstand weather and getting knocking around during storage too. So can you just coat the fiberglass resin right over anything? Yep, just about anything that's sanded. You can put it on plastic, but over time it won't peel off. I usually, as a painter myself for painting cars, I never put paint on anything shiny. That's anything, whether you're rattle canning something or spray canning something. I always sand whatever I'm painting first to make sure the surface will hold the paint. Because it takes like 7 days for a rattle can paint job to fully cure. So, if you paint something on one day and then stick it out in the weather the next day, it might flake off because you're too early with your paint. So even still, if I always sand what I'm going to paint, always sand shiny. That's my biggest tip to everybody. If you're making props, always sand shiny. Never paint on anything shiny because your paint will come off. Okay. I'm going to show this. I think I have here's your tiki torches. These are awesome. Can you talk us through what's your build process of one of these? Those guys came about. I saw somebody else did them, and they were just using Great Stuff foam. And of course, Great Stuff foam is the building blocks of all haunters. The bad thing about Great Stuff foam is that it keeps expanding. So I use Loctite foam. Once you spray Loctite foam with water, you compact it down and sculpt with it, it stays put. It won't swell up. It won't bubble and blister later. It won't crack your paint away as it's expanding. So my torches I made, those are like dollar store torches. Those are Nightmare Maker skulls that are rigid foam. And I, drill the hole to the top, put them on there, and I used Fire Block Great Stuff foam. It's an orange foam, so that way it's more fire retardant. Okay. And those foam, the rigid foam skulls from Biddy Mold Supplies, where I get my foam for those. Like I make it comes out right of a Nightmare Maker's mold. I prep it, burn it a little bit with the torch to get some color on it, and I brush fiberglass resin right over to harden everything and lock it all together. That way it can be in the elements, it can be in the rain, it can be in the snow, it can be in the ice. You can put them out all summer, and if you dump torch oil all over it, it's not going to dissolve your skull. You can leave it on there, it's not going to hurt anything. So it's made to be out just about year round. That's amazing. Now, one of the things that a little nugget you threw out there that I think people caught on is that you're using another maker's molds to make these, which I think is really amazing. I was hoping she was going to be able to join us, but she was a little camera shy, and maybe she'll be able to join us in the future. But Nightmare Makers, they're for those of you who don't know, they're an amazing company that makes silicone molds, so you could bang out 20, 30 skeletons out of these molds, and they're going to be made of you can do rigid foam. And they're going to last a lot. They're going to last longer, and they're also going to look better because I think she has like 7 different faces. Yep. So it's got 7 skulls, femurs, vertebrae, horns, and giant-sized skulls. Yeah, the giant size skulls are amazing. And she's doing pumpkins now, but I don't think she has the mold for them. Now, someone's asking, do you recommend SCM paint and dyes? I don't even know what SCM paint is, but would love to hear. I guess that is a question that maybe you will understand. I love SEM. I love their satin black for years. It's hard to find. I love their glues. SEM's 2-part glues in a cartridge, which is a lot of what I use. I don't use like tile and tub caulk because it's going to come apart. So I like to use their 2-part cartridges. Some makes awesome dies. I like their rattle cans for like vinyl or for costumes, or if you're painting on cloth or leathers, or you're distressing costumes. I love Sem's. Everything Sem makes is freaking awesome. I love
Sem is a brand.
Yep, Sem is a brand.
Okay.
You can Google it on Amazon. They pop up. Sem sells on Amazon too.
You get a lot of Amazon be like, there's a rush on these. Denise, I'm asking a lot of questions. Do you have any questions? I'm sorry.
Not on that one, but I do on another piece that he does.
All right.
Show me the piece.
You know which one it is?
Yes, the one with all the skeleton heads.
Oh, I have that. Hold on. Let me pull this. This is an amazing. It is how do I hold on? Okay, there we go. It is a catacomb wall that you make. So maybe you can talk about that while I bring it up.
I had made one originally with leftovers Michael skulls, and it came out okay. I was happy with it. But the Nightmare Maker skull molds, every home haunter should have one, because they're so much nicer than buying the plastic skulls from Home Depot. Those skulls are junk.
That's my favorite.
With the Nightmare Makers molds, you can get 2 molds, maybe 3. You can get them flat back. I cut the backs of mine off, or I'll only pour the faces. And with spray paint and a die grinder, you can easily modify. If you had 2 molds, you can make those skulls look like they were 20 different skulls by just dremeling them out and spray painting them and whatever. I think I took 25 Nightmare Maker skulls, Nightmare Maker femur ends. I put sticks, dollar store Spanish moss. I've got ping pong balls in some of the eyes to change the light a little bit. I've got some of my jaws that I make. I make a lower jaw for my little light sconce, and just bits and pieces. Chains, it's plastic chain, so it's lightweight. And this thing is actually made to be outside, like under an eave. I've got a big diffuser shield behind it, so it spreads the light out, and I've got flame bulbs behind it, so it kind of has that eerie glow, and you see all the light coming through the different mouths and nose pieces and eyeballs and stuff. But I made that guy, and I thought I had made it to the original size. I was kind of eyeballing. When the time I was done with that thing, it was over 6 feet tall. So I'm like, ooh, man, I think I went a little bit bigger than last time. So, but the Nightmare Maker's skulls, anybody can do this with Nightmare Maker's molds. You just need maybe 2 molds, and you can use odds and ends plastic skulls, and you can use spray glue for corpsing and stuff like that if you want, because that puts a nice texture on everything, and it helps your paint stick because you're spraying glue on. So it's a double duty product, which is what I love.
Well, I'm going to attempt one of these, so I may be hollering at you and saying, help.
Hit me up. It's cheap materials. It's chicken wire. I actually have a tutorial on my YouTube channel it's not so much a tutorial, but it shows how I built my first one, my smaller one. And it's easy. Some chicken wire, some little lath-in strips. You could use junk lumber. It doesn't matter. You could use yardsticks if you wanted. And some great stuff for filler and Loctite to keep everything locked down. And you just foam the skulls right into place, and you die grind them out, dremel them out, and you're on your way. It's real simple project.
Anyone who's been following me on social media knows I've been in the middle of making a monstrous version of this.
I want to build a 10-foot tall column of that one day.
Yeah, I have built an entire surround for a hot tub out of them. That's
awesome.
A mountain. But now, if you are attempting this, there's a great company called, and maybe you might have a better supplier that you would recommend, but there's a great company called Brick in the Yard Mold Supply.
Love
and
them.
They have really great videos on how to measure the high density foam. And I would recommend, if you're going to go down this rabbit hole, spend some time learning how to measure the high density foam, because it does involve some math. And remember in high school when you complained about why do we need to know how to do this kind of math? This is why. So they're brickintheyard.com. So definitely they're great, and they can sell you the high density foam as well. But they have some amazing, pretty straightforward, almost like science class tutorial videos on there. Now this catacomb, how big is this, Keith?
Oh, let's see. The actual skull portion is probably 4.5 feet long, plus 2 to 3 foot of chain dangling underneath it. So it's pretty long. From ceiling to floor, I think my chains hang about 1.5 feet off the ground. So it's over 6 foot long from top to bottom.
It's amazing. And where are you? And what are you using for LED lights behind it?
I went to Menards and I bought a 2 light fixture that you just put up in your ceiling, and I put LED, wired it up to a rocker switch, and plugged it in the wall. A real simple wiring, and put 2 LED flame bulbs behind there, so I can change them out to blue or to green, which I'm going to do just to play with. But it's just 2 light bulbs is all it is, and they're LEDs. They don't take any heat, and with the diffuser shield behind there, it spreads the light out so you can see light in every skull hole.
Oh, that's smart. That's smart. The diffuser shield.
It looks great on the ceiling and floor. So if you have a ceiling above this thing or a light colored floor on the bottom, you can actually see the flame dancing on the floor and the ceiling above it.
I love that. I love that. Someone has a question.
Sure.
What do you use to age or weather your skulls?
Most of those are spray paint, but then I like to go back and I like to dry brush with other spray paints. You can spray paint. I use paper plates all the time. Just a simple heavy-duty paper plate, spray into a plate, dip your little chip brush in there and dry brush. But I also like to use stuff like from the dollar store, like paprika. Paprika makes the best rust hands down anywhere. You can sprinkle that stuff on. You can spray glue on, sprinkle paprika on it, and hit it with your heat gun and blister it and bubble it. And it looks like heavy, thick rust.
Do you see this face?
I'm telling you, paprika.
That's the moment face right there.
If it's going to be outside, use the chili powder because the squirrels won't eat it.
Another aha moment. I'm telling you, when you guys, as we do these, and you guys see me making this face, it's because I just said, like, my brain will. Denise, you'll have to take over talking because I'll be thinking of the 27 applications that I'll be doing the next day.
The chain hanging.
Good thing this is being recorded so we can go back and.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the chain hanging from the catacomb sconce is what I use. I use paprika to age those chains. I take plastic chain, I scuff it, because like I said, don't paint shiny. I scuff it, I put it in a coil, I hit it with some black, some brown, some gray, and then I put a heavy coat of flat matte clear on there, sprinkle the paprika, and then hit it again with the clear. Paprika makes the best rust, hands down, cheapest rust ever.
That is such a good nugget. I love that.
It works.
I really, really, really do love that. Now, if you have questions, feel free to ask them in the comments and we'll bring them up. I want to show some of the things, Keith. I have some of them here that you make that I think are just really, really, really awesome. I'll say that's my favorite. I'm going to save that. So this is a skull. What would you call this? A shelf?
That's basically just my gargoyle shelf. Yeah, I make a gray version and I make a brown version as well. And these are made to be outside. Again, these are the same rigid foam that Biddy sells. That's a Nightmare Maker's skull. And I made it where it was an internal cleat. So you screw the cleat to the wall, you hang your shelf on there, and you're done. No measuring, no little tabs, no nothing. And this will hold, yep, exactly. This will hold a 52 Ford tailgate. It'll hold a Corvette wheel and tire. It'll hold a fire extinguisher that's full. I test my stuff as much as I can to be abused and beaten, and you can hang these outside in your yard, let them get rained on, snowed on. If you're hanging them on a fence in your garden, knock yourself out. It ain't going to hurt anything.
Does this just pop out? I can't remember. Or do I have to unscrew it?
It pops out. To get the bracket off, you got to unscrew the bracket, and then it should pop out.
Okay, so I won't break it now. But so, is this from a Nightmare Maker's skull form and you just sculpted on top of it?
Nope. I wadded up tinfoil and I used a piece of wood for the top shelf. That's the top part of the shelf. It was actually a piece of foam I carved. This is a wooden base from Michael's I cut in half, and all this is hand sculpted by I use oil-based clay. And I wadded up some tinfoil and made this guy, and then made a silicone mold of it, and then a fiberglass jacket for it.
That's amazing. Now, I think I would love to actually do a follow-up session with you on
anytime
about mold making, because I think that is like the next level. I think many of us crave to learn how to do, and it's terrifying. But I would love to.
No, it's simple. If you start simple with the flat back mold, it's easy, and then you jump up fast.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go down the rabbit hole, and I love this. Talk to us about this.
That was another thing. I had bought one from Etsy that I thought was pretty cool, but it was small, and I needed a bat for my locks that I make. I needed a bat for my coffin. And I'm like, I'm just going to make one. So I sculpted it to make sure. The easiest thing, if you're going to sculpt something like that, it has to be kind of even. I'll just take a piece of paper and I'll trace out my design and I'll put the piece of paper down and I'll sculpt on top of the paper. That way I know at least it'll be symmetrical. And it's a simple silicone mold. I build a little wall around it, pour silicone on top. I can pour 1-to-1 part resins in there and pop out any color I want, blue, purple, green, whatever the mica colors, and paint. And so that was a fast, I think 2-3 days I worked on that. The first one I'm making super sculpty, though.
Super sculpt, okay. These are, I love, and they have a little hanging tab. So
Yep.
even if you weren't using these for when I saw the coffin, I was at Midwest, I was like, I need to put these on some coffins. I was like, I got to do this. But I love that it just has one of those picture frame hanging hooks on the back.
Just a little triangle hanger. That's it.
You could put these right on your wall at your house. You could put some little brad nails on the wall. You could just, these are even if you're in an apartment and you can't do a yard,
right?
Cool would it be to do something like this? Now this is not just a pitch for them to buy stuff from me. They should, but I love that this is something you could make.
Absolutely, it's easy, super easy. You sculpt it, and I like to make. If I'm making something that I'm going to mold, if it's small enough, I will try and make it a super sculpey, which is a oven baked clay you can get at Home Depot. You can get it at Amazon, anywhere, because it's a little bit more easier if you're using raw clay, it's kind of hard. There's a chance of mashing something before you're prepping it for silicone, whatever. So for smaller pieces, I like to use super sculpey. That way it's dense and you can save your original. So if you screw up your mold or you lose your mold or ruin your mold, you can go back and remold the same piece and have an identical piece versus molding a copy of a copy, which you start losing detail and stuff. So I save my originals.
All right, so talk us we'll go down another one about mold making, but give us the Reader's Digest for dummies. If you're gonna start, if you're not how to do it, but if you're gonna start, what are the basic steps that we should be thinking about, so that way people can then go and learn each of those basic steps.
I would say if you want to start mold making, the easiest way how I started was making magnets. So when COVID happened and everything was getting shut down, they were like, oh, Halloween's canceled. Hell no, Halloween is never canceled. I wanted to make something for the kids so they could have in case mom and dad said, hey, no treat bags. I don't want something coming from somebody else's house because I don't know where it's been. There's a pandemic going on. I totally understand that. But no kid left behind, no trick-or-treater left behind whatsoever. So I figured if I couldn't give them candy, I would make magnets. So I went to sculpting, and I made little vampires and all the stuff that I like. Vampires, werewolves, bats, clowns, everything. And I took suggestions on my Facebook page. And I made a little flat back, little magnet guy. And it was super sculpty. I baked it when I was happy with it. And I put it down, and I think I spray glued it to I went to the thrift shop, and I bought a bunch of little dishes and odds and end little dishes and cups and butter holders and all that stuff, and I used blue tack or spray glue and stuck it down in there. I sprayed some mold release. You can use Armor All, you can use cooking spray and brush it on there. And Amazon has nice little trial kits from Mold Star of silicone. It's 1-to-1. It's really easy to mix. I go to the dollar store. I buy sleeves of cups. I put them side by side and I measure. I don't own a scale, so you can make stuff you don't have to have a scale. Mix it in your dollar store cups, mix it up, pour it in. You got your first mold. Then you can buy a trial size of resin that are like $26, $27. So for $50, you can literally start making a mold. But fiberglass or silicone's jumped up a little bit. For a trial size of silicone from Amazon, it's probably close to $30, $35. So for like $60, you could literally invest in making a mold and start popping out copies of your first little object, whatever you made, or something that's pre-existing. But flat back is easily the way to start making your own product, for sure.
So am I correct in understanding this, that you just started sculpting and making molds during COVID?
Yeah, right before COVID. I've been shaving Bondo for 25 years, so sculpting came kind of naturally to me. To other people, maybe not so much, but you pick it up really fast. Once you get the clay in your hand, you get the feel for what kind of clay you like. Your detail comes pretty easy in how you can put your detail in. But it was basically right before shutdown when I started, okay, well, I got to figure something out, because by the time Halloween rolls around, I don't know if there's going to be no trick-or-treating or whatnot. So I just kind of taught myself mold making, and I even do videos on my YouTube, basically basic mold making. I've got a couple of videos up of basic resins and basic mold making. They're simple videos. You watch those videos, you'll be pounding out stuff tomorrow. The next day, you'll be cranking out 50, 20 magnets yourself. Absolutely.
Wow.
It's easy stuff.
I love that that every other word out of your mouth was dollar store, Michael's, the Home Depot. Like literally, these things are thrift stores. You don't need a lot of money to do this. Someone did, I think, actually is a great question, because I think many of us might find ourselves in the same position. And the question, this is from Anna, and she says, so what do you do if you're not artistic with sculpting?
You can always, and I would say this: if there's something you like, you have an existing piece, like an existing bat or piece that you like, start by molding their stuff, and then or sculpt on top of their stuff. Start teaching yourself by taking an existing piece and put clay on top of it and move it around until you're happy with it, and then you can mold that. That way, it's original. Sure, maybe it may have the shape of somebody else's object, but that's one way to teach yourself to start sculpting.
And with clay, it's different than, say, sculpting on a foam, right? Because once you remove the negative space out of a block of foam, you're stuck with it. You can't just cold white put it back together in the same way. Yep. With clay, you can keep modifying it.
Absolutely. Yep. And I like to use oil-based clay because I work 2 jobs, so a lot of people use wet clay because it's cheap. Well, oil-based clay is a little bit more expensive, and Hobby Lobby has both of it in spades. Okay. I don't like to use wet clay or Walter E. Disney clay because it's water-based. So if I start something, sculpting a mask or whatever, and I walk away for 2 weeks and forget about it, I got to babysit it and keep missing it down and holding wet. With oil-based clay, it's a little more expensive, but you don't have to babysit it. You can come back to it in 2 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. You burn the dust off of it, and you can reuse it when you're done. So when you dig it out of your mold, you can reuse that same clay over and over again. So the extra money you're spending on the price of the higher clay, even though it's you can get it at a Hobby Lobby, and I wait for clay sales. When clay is 30% off, I'll go out there and start clearing the racks. I don't care. I'll just take it all, get it all. But watch the sales, because Hobby Lobby has sales every month, like 30 to 50% off on clays, on foams, on glassware. All the stuff I use for my home haunt. When I see stuff's on sale, I'm like a little kid in the candy store. I'll take some of these, because everything's on sale. It's all coming home to me.
Just learn their rotation.
Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing. After you mold the oil-based clay, what's the next step from there?
When you've got your sculpt and you mold it, you pour your silicone on. You take your silicone mold off, you demold. So you pull your clay or your object or your Sculpey or whatever out of your mold, and you're ready for resin. There is no prep work. Nothing sticks to silicone except for silicone. So you're ready to go right in and pour your resin right into your mold. Your foam.
So you don't have to bake the clay. You don't have to let it sit out. You literally can go right from there to...
You can go right from clay to silicone and make your mold.
That's amazing.
It's super easy. Yep.
I do want to tell people by Keith's website, and there's a link to his Etsy on there. So the website is cobwebsandcandlesticks.com. Again, Keith's website is cobwebsandcandlesticks.com. And there is a link right there to his Facebook group. He doesn't even have a Facebook page. He has a Facebook group, so you can be a part of the conversation, which I think is amazing.
Absolutely.
He has a YouTube link right on there, right on the bottom. After you read a little bit of Keith's story, his YouTube link's right there. And his videos are awesome, and he's just like all of us, trust me. And that's why he's the perfect first guest for this. And also his Etsy page, which I would love for all of you to support. Some of these things are on there that you can buy. I gotta show. I just love these, and I forgot to put the flame bulb in it, so I'm gonna do that. I just thought.
Oh, I know what you're digging out.
so cool. Let's see. There's two. Okay, so there's 2 colors I got. Okay, so it is. Look at this. You guys are gonna love this. This is I think this is the best thing you make.
And they can be outdoors. They're made to hang in your haunt.
Look at this. How freaking cool is this? Yeah, there you go. So you have.
I got red. Yep.
You can put. You can put any tea light in there. If you have a pink one, you want to put in there, you can.
Yep.
You make these in lots of colors, but you could buy one of these and paint it a different color if you needed a neon green one or whatever.
Yep.
This is made from the Nightmare Makers.
Rigid foam. Yep. No, the skull is not. The skull is my sculpt.
That's your skull.
But it's the same foam that you make your Nightmare Maker is rigid foam with. It's the same principle. This is just a flatter, bigger skull at my mold. I just stretched the mold out and made it flatter. So because you can make a ton of skulls, but sometimes it's hard to light them. Or I think the world needs more like lighting and cool stuff that you can leave up year round. That doesn't just say cutesy Halloween and then you got to put it away at the end of the season. I like something that can be up all year round. It can be used outside, indoors for Halloween parties. You could hang this in, if you had a roofless haunt, you could put this in your halls or in your rooms in the haunt. It'd be fine.
You're absolutely good. And it comes, and look at the back, super easy, little hanger. Yep. And I love that you make all your stuff easy for someone who just wants to pop it up and go. Maybe
that's what it's for.
Maybe you don't have time. Maybe you live in the apartment. I feel like I'm on QVC, but this is like, it's so cool. I think I bought 4 of these.
I think so. You bought a lot.
I'm using these, and people on the Facebook group, they're like, why you buy? Somebody was accusing me of scalping stuff, and I was like, listen, I buy multiples of everything because I really do believe that you need multiples to set the scene right. You can't just put one of these on a wall. You're going to need 2 of them, right? Or you're going to need 4 of them if you're doing a room. Like that's
no. You buy odd amounts. Come on now, just be honest.
I buy odd amounts depending on what I'm doing and what I'm going to do with it. But I think this is amazing. And someone said, I need that, and you do. Again, you can go to Keith's website, cobwebsandcandlesticks.com, and these are for order on there, right, Keith?
I think I have some brown ones up and some gray ones on my Etsy page. Not on my the website redirects you to my Etsy and my YouTube channel, all that stuff. But on my Etsy page, I have some brown ones and the gray ones because I got a friend who's a mask maker and he hung one in his bathroom because they can be in a damp room because they're rigid foam. So he put one in his shower room.
Yeah, let me see.
Philip Lanehart has put all kinds of links on here. To everything that you're talking about. So
well, thank you, Phil. That's cool.
Thank you so much. And somebody asked, will this be saved? Yes, and we will post it. And it will be on this on our Facebook page. So you will be able to find it. Yeah, that's so cool.
That's the nutcrackers.
Nutcrackers, they're on there as well. But this is great because you just buy nutcrackers from Michael's or Hobby Lobby or wherever.
Exactly. Yep.
And you can
but see, that's what's so cool. That's what we want everybody to really get out of this is you can make all these creative things out of anything.
You can go to yard sales and get nutcrackers. You can cut them up and customize them any way you want. I just make mine. I always hated the Christmas ones. They flood the shelves, and it's like, they just drive me nuts. Like, those should be little monsters. So all mine function. I try and use as much wood as I can in them to keep them kind of traditional. But I always make sure that mine function, that the mouth always opens no matter what I'm doing. That's part of the challenge of building them. And then put as many wood bits in there as I can, plus add whatever else I can to it to make it different and unique.
Your stuff is definitely very unique, and it is really amazing quality. I want to circle back before we wrap this up.
Sure.
And if you do have questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. But what are some of the top automotive supplies that you recommend that people use when they are building stuff? We talked about fiberglass, where do they get it? They go to AutoZone or where do they get it? What do they do?
You can go to any auto body supply or even Amazon carries this stuff. So if you don't want to leave your house and you're an Amazon Prime member, I like to use a fiberglass filler. I don't use it's what people commonly refer to as Bondo, because Bondo is water absorbent. It will absorb water. So I use a body filler when I do some of my sculpting or when I'm putting things together. That's called Duraglass. It's just chopped up, fine strand, fiberglass, auto body filler. So I use that for my projects. I use resin for a lot. Resin's 1-to-1, like these guys. I'll use resin to put my little chains in their heads so they can dangle. I'll brush them with resin so that way they're nice and strong. They can be outside and the rain and the weather, the elements can beat the hell out of them. And they're still going to look good from year to year. And Amazon carries all that stuff. So I don't ever use Bondo body filler. I love Bondo brand because Bondo is a brand. But I use fiberglass body filler, clear coats. My favorite thing that I've been using, I did it last year, was bed liner. As long as you have a little compressor at home, you can put it on your tombstones and your foam props, and then you're really dialing in your game. You can make tombstones that are going to last for years in all horrible temperature, in sun, in rain, and it's like $100 a kit. You could probably do. I've got a video on it on my channel. You could probably do, I think, 4 tombstones with one kit. So for like $20 to $25, you can skin one of your tombstones, an old tombstone, and make it almost like it's bulletproof, almost like it's wearing armor.
All right. Well, so I gotta dissect this for 1 second here. So so a fiberglass body filler.
Yep, it's called Duraglass. Yep,
Duraglass. I'm looking right now. It's looks like it's about $58 for a gallon. That's so not far off from a can of premium paint. And you just brush that on the
Duraglass. No, the Duraglass is a fiberglass filler.
Okay.
So it's a lot of people they have for me doing automotive, people I don't know how to mix Bondo, mix fiberglass filler. It's easy with the fiber. It's all basically the same. So the fiberglass filler, it's green, it's waterproof. Okay. So with that stuff, it's easy to mix that stuff. For every golf ball of material you're using, you put a 1-inch ribbon of cream hardener on top, and that's it. You mix it with the paint stick, you spread it on in 5-10 minutes, you're good to go. You're done. It's gonna rock. It's gonna cure as hard as a rock. You can go right to it with the grinder. You can put a tap and die in it if you want to put bolts into it or something like that. You can press it into other materials, or if you're joining materials together like wood or foam to wood or something like that, it's also a great bonding agent for almost anything.
The Duraglass you're talking about.
The Duraglass, yep.
So is it? What's the consistency? I think that's what I'm
peanut butter.
Peanut butter, and you can sculpt with it, or you just would put it over something to.
I'll put it over something, and then I'll grind it, and then I'll put clay on top of it sometimes. But you can, if you're fast enough with your hands, you don't want to use your hands with that stuff because it is fiberglass. You can do you can put broken stuff back together, or broken skulls, or skeletons, or foam. You can skim your tombstones with that on the outside to make them stand up to the elements. That stuff, it's basically like a cure-all paste. Basically, that's peanut butter consistency. The fiberglass resin. When you mix, you can pour that into a cup. Like I said, it's 10 ounces. It's it's 1 squirt per every ounce you have. I've got a ton of fiberglass videos on my channel shows you how to mix that stuff. And you just get to brushing it on. That's with a chip brush. You can brush on. You can coat tombstones. You can coat over fiberglass body filler with it. You can coat over foam. You can coat over plastic. You can put it on clothing if you want to make clothing stiff for a prop where you want to kind of lock them into place. You can brush fiberglass onto that and lock it into place. It's better than Monster Mud because it's waterproof.
Okay. All right. That's amazing. And then the other thing you talked about, someone said, hold on, can you back this up? The bed, he was talking about a bed liner kit. Now I'm seeing
Raptor bed liner kit.
What is it? Raptor?
Raptor. Just like the little guy from Jurassic Park, the little evil little raptors. Raptor bed liner parts, or Raptor bed liner kits.
It's the same stuff you'd use to make a bed liner for a truck, right?
Absolutely. Yep. You can also brush it on. If you do not have a compressor, don't be afraid. You can mix it up. You top off your hardener in there, and you can brush it on and stipple it with your brush to make it look like concrete or aging or pitting or rust or whatever. So you don't have to have a compressor or a gun to shoot it out of. I spray it because it gets a nice texture, but you can absolutely brush that stuff on, stipple it on however you want, and coat your stuff in bed liner.
It's about $139. Does that sound right?
I get them. I won't spend $139 on it when I buy it for my customers. I try and get it for, it's went up. I used to get it for $99 or $89 a kit. They make black or they make transparent. So you can actually put it on something that's already, like say you have a tombstone that's already painted and you love the paint, but you just want to protect it.
Yeah.
You can mix the transparent up and you can brush over the transparent and you can keep your paint job. Or if you want to go to black, or if you want to black out backgrounds or tombstones, whatever, they make a black. The black is always cheaper than the transparent because you got to add automotive paint to the transparent if you so choose. But I usually go with the black, and you can paint on top of it too. So if you black everything out with one color, you can go back and dry brush and spray paint right on top of that stuff. So
do you have to sand it after it cures? You can just paint right on it.
You can go right to painting after it's cured. Yep.
All right, and a great question here from but someone says that Dollar Tree has it in a spray can, by the way.
I've never seen her use it. I wouldn't trust it. I usually use spray glue for texture because it not only is it a glue, plus it's a texture, and you can go right to paint on top of that stuff.
Yeah.
It'll stick.
Yeah, it might be it might be worth. I mean, listen,
I'll play with it if I can find it. I'll grab some and play with it.
if it's $1, throw it on a sheet of foam and see what happens. You never know.
Absolutely.
I mean, you find something that, and you could be the next guest on here. You're like, I found this great thing. And someone asks, does Duraglass melt XPS foam?
Yes, because Duraglass has some heat in there, because it does have a chemical reaction. A lot of times, if you're going to put anything on top of XPS foam or dense foam, put a coat of latex exterior paint on it. So most of my stuff, because people are like, oh, what do you put on your tombstones? Menards, Home Depot, Lowe's, they all have Oops paint. So somebody comes in, they buy a gallon of paint, or their Restore. I don't know if you guys have Habitat for Humanity stores, or it's called Restores. They sell gallons of paint for $10. It's mess up paint or paint that's been donated to them. I like to go in there and get a gallon of paint for $10, as long as it's exterior. You want to use exterior for outdoor stuff, because exterior paint it's soft, it moves. Interior paint dries hard as hell, so it will crack and bust off your props if you use exterior paint on an exterior project. So stick to exterior paints, and you can use that as a base for anything, and then you can put bed liner on top of it. Anything with rattle cans, it has like a foam or an acetone or a xylene in it that's going to eat foam. And sometimes it works to your favor because it'll actually eat the foam for you, and then you can latex paint over it. You already got your pitting and your rough spots. You can just Dremel in your cracks. That's all you need to do.
And put paprika on it or chili powder.
Either one. Yep. And if you want to use moss, use dollar store. What do I use for moss? Is it not bay leaves? They got the other one. That's the green tiny crush stuff. I use that for moss sometimes. I'll mix it with wood glue and then brush it on.
Oregano,
I think that's it. Yep, it's in the dollar store aisle. You can mix it with wood glue and brush it onto your props, and the green will actually stain the glue a little bit. Or you can even use inks, like alcohol inks or food coloring, to put in your wood glue to tint it, so it looks like slime, or it looks like that and oregano. It makes totally believable moss. If you want to brush it under your skulls, your eye sockets, your mouth, whatever, put stuff on the ground. Absolutely.
Are you just putting the paprika on top of the paint?
I'll put it on top of paint. I'll do spray glue, a layer of spray glue down, and then I'll put paprika on there. Yep, I'll sprinkle it. I can tap it around a little bit to make sure it's covered. And then you can use your heat gun to boil the glue and lock it all down. And it'll look like scabby, scaly rust.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I tell you, I when I have chats like these, I really just wish that this was my full-time job, and wish that I was just making stuff, because I'm kind of mad. I'm mad that it's 9:00 at night, because I'm ready to go outside and go make stuff. So if we don't have any other questions, Keith, I just want to thank you so much for joining us here, and I would love to have you back
anytime.
And maybe we do a demonstration of some of these techniques. I think there would be a lot of interest in some of that mold making or fiberglass, and maybe you could do a little cooking show version of some little.
I'm sure we can figure something out.
Yeah, it would be amazing. I would love for you guys to please go to Cobwebs and Candlesticks.com and join Keith's group. We'd love to blow his group up and join the conversation. Check out his YouTube videos. Visit his Etsy page. He has some great products on there that you can check out. Add to your haunt. I know some of you have emptied your bank accounts on Home Depot, and you can. But please take a moment to support a local amazing vendor who's creating amazing. I mean, this stuff is high. Like, I see the complaints about some of the stuff that breaks. This stuff is this is
use and abuse.
Going. I put this in my suitcase. This went through TSA. Like, you guys are fine. So definitely check out. Again, Cobwebs and Candlesticks.com, and support what Keith is doing. And if you enjoyed this, please like Haunted House Factory on Facebook, because we're going to be doing these regularly, and we want you to know about that. So, Denise, do you have anything,
guys? Did you enjoy Keith, and did you learn something from today?
I'm all about sharing the knowledge and pooling the knowledge, so all of us can raise our game and make our props go to the next level.
Mm-hmm. And do y'all want more stuff like this? Was this the kind of things that you would like? Because that's what we want to do for you.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, if you have follow-up questions for Keith, go to his website, because that'll link you to his Facebook page, and I see him posting in there all the time, and I'm sure that he'll be glad to answer your follow-up questions on there. So Denise, do you have any social media you want to plug on your end?
I just want to say first, thank you so much, Keith. We
My
really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
My pleasure. It's all about sharing the knowledge.
And I am grateful for Jennifer for letting us share it in her groups, and for Randy for also, and all of the people that are in the groups joining here. I mean, this is what this is all about. Everybody sharing and learning and being a part. And because, you take those groups and what, Jennifer and Randy, and of course, we're all a part of that, and what they do. And then you take something like this and add to it. I mean, guys, we just want to give you everything that you need from all of us here. This is to help you, to make you happy.
It's to build community.
Love you guys.
I think it's all about community, building
It really is.
community and sharing, so that everybody gains and everybody wins.
And Keith, you know what it is? I was just having breakfast with this morning with a friend of mine who works in higher education, and we were talking about this very idea today, about open source information sharing and problem solving. And some of these big companies that put ideas out trying to, like, how do we make this thing work? And it's someone from the automotive industry that has the idea that they would never have if they didn't open up that platform. Or someone, we are going to have people on here who come from all different walks of life, who bring something and some new information to the haunt world. And if you keep watching these, I guarantee you're going to be informed and you're going to learn. You're going to learn stuff, and that's our goal. So, really, really, really can't thank you enough for joining us on here.
Anytime.
Thank you, of course, to Jennifer for allowing us to promote these in her groups, and we love.
And Randy, we're ignoring you right now. I see what you've posted. We're not going there.
We're not going there. We've had enough conversation about the back orders on HomeDepot.com. We are not Home Depot customer service. Our orders are back ordered too. Trust me.
Yes, they are.
But in the meanwhile, we can build things and make things until those things arrive on our doorstep.
Absolutely.
Which they will. So thank you, Denise, for when I said, Denise, I have this crazy idea. Do you want to do this with me? And Denise said, I got this idea. Do you want to do this with me? And they merged together, and here we are. And
awesome.
We're just so excited to be doing this. And thank you guys so much for following us. And we'll have more adventures in making to come.
That's awesome.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Follow. I don't know if Keith is on. Keith is above me. Is he above me on your screen?
Yeah, he's above you.
Okay, good.
You're on the bottom.
Okay. Follow Keith. There he is. Follow Keith, cobwebsandcandlesticks.com. Like us on Facebook, Haunted House Factory, and we'll see you guys next week.
Good night, everybody.
Happy haunting.